Hello, I'm Daniel, a paramedic and an instructor at Adom in Israel. You have probably already heard that Adom has opened an emergency operations center to take the calls of concerned citizens, and I'm also a duty manager at this unique call center. The call center handles thousands of calls each day from concerned citizens with questions regarding the virus, the risk of infection, diagnosing the virus, how to prevent, and many more questions. The medical teams in the call center, myself included, are doing the best we can to return all calls as soon as we can. But until we call you back, here are some frequently asked questions, and of course, their answers. So, I was told I have to quarantine myself. What does that mean? The quarantine lasts 14 days, and this means that you have to stay home. Do not go out to the public areas, including work, school, shopping centers, public transportation, hospitals, clinics, and many more. Report the quarantine on the Ministry of Health website or by calling *5400. Another one for you. I am supposed to be in quarantine, but the rest of my family who lives in the same house as me aren't. So what should I do? Shouldn't they also be in quarantine? It is recommended to reduce the contact with the family members who are not in quarantine and don't, of course, have any visitors. If there are children or family members who have chronic illnesses and are not required to be quarantined, if possible, have them be out of the house. Stay over at friends or other family members, if possible. Several people who are in quarantine may stay in the same room with a closed door. If possible, use a separate bathroom. Leaving the room should be kept short and only done when absolutely necessary. When leaving the room, use a mask or a cloth to cover the face and mouth. Another question, what can we do during the quarantine? Well, so it is important to maintain as much of a normal routine as possible. Imagine that you took a vacation to tour, or it's a rainy weekend and you want to stay home. What should you do? So it is important to prepare with enough food, enough Corona, or any other type of beer in the house in advance. Ensure that there are disposable plates and silverware. Food can always be ordered, but ensure that you pay with credit card and that the delivery person leaves it outside next to the door. This is your opportunity to do all those things that you have procrastinated because you haven't had time to do. The book you always wanted to read. Binge those movies and TV shows. The photo albums from your last trip that you wanted to arrange, and many more. Call family members who are in quarantine, or keep a journal. You can also report the quarantine by phone, video chat, WhatsApp, or even Skype. Of course, you should keep track of symptoms which can appear during the quarantine period. You can add checking your fever to your routine in the morning and in the evening, or even keep a log of those temperature checks, which can help your feeling of control over the situation. Here's another question for you guys. How would I manage without the social contact? Well, ensure that you have your cell phone and your laptop, and of course, don't forget your chargers. Those who can work from home should do so. It is very important to do light exercise. Examples of such can be found online. Children can do arts and crafts, coloring books, or other art projects. Students should stay up to date on the Ministry of Education's website to stay on top of their schoolwork. Now, if I'm in quarantine, I feel fine, but I want to be checked just to be sure. Is that possible? So the answer is no. I'm not against it, but there really is no point. If you are feeling fine, that's great. As long as there are no symptoms of the virus, there is no indication to be checked, and it is crucial to stick to the quarantine, to those quarantine guidelines published by the Ministry of Health until 14 days have been completed. Furthermore, even if you don't have symptoms before 14 days have passed, which is the average incubation period for the virus, a negative test does not definitively mean you haven't had the virus. I am in quarantine and starting not to feel great. What should I do? So during the quarantine period, you should be aware of appearances of symptoms of the virus. Should symptoms such as a high fever, cough, generalized weakness, or other respiratory symptoms similar to the flu appear, call MADA's 101 emergency call center so that our trained paramedics can come to your house and take a sample to be tested. Should you turn to the clinic or a hospital, call ahead to warn them so that they can prepare appropriately. In the past few days, many hospitals have prepared dedicated departments for those who are suspected of having coronavirus. All hospitals have been instructed to do so by the Ministry of Health. Now, I was in the same place after someone who was diagnosed by the virus. What do? Each time there is a new confirmed case, the Ministry of Health investigates and then publishes the list of the places that specific person had been to, so that those who had been in contact with them will be able to go into quarantine and help prevent the spread of the virus. If you were in the same places at the same times, you must immediately quarantine for 14 days from the day of your visit and be aware of developing symptoms. If you were at these places at a different time or on a different day, you have no restrictions and can continue with your normal routine. There is no need for quarantine, and there is no need for medical guidance on the matter. Now, how can we prevent contracting and spreading the virus? So, maintaining good personal hygiene is the main goal. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing by the use of a mask, a tissue, or even your elbow. Try to avoid contact with those who are sick and have flu-like symptoms. By the way, the use of a mouth and a face mask is highly recommended today, especially for medical teams, but also for the public to use those masks. Make sure to use proper hand washing techniques with soap and water, or even antiseptic alcohol solution. Do not touch animals, and make sure to cook all animal products well. Now, when is my quarantine over? Quarantine ends when 14 days have passed from the last exposure to a confirmed patient, or after returning from a country overseas. On the 15th day, so long as you don't have any symptoms, you may return to your regular routine with no need for a physician's note. If you were tested during the 14 days of quarantine and test came back negative, this does not mean you could come out of quarantine. You must wait for the full 14 days. I hope I answered all your questions. And for additional information, for additional questions, you can call 101 or get information from the Ministry of Health website or media outlets. Stay healthy, and together, let's fight the coronavirus.